Hey folks, good evening. This is going to be the first of a couple of recorded lectures for CN 500 um, at Western Seminary. Uh, because we're doing the online teaching at the moment, because of shelter in place, I wanted to record a couple lectures beforehand, and this is going to be one of those, okay? What we're going to be talking about today is we're going to be talking about how to read a journal article. Many people are coming from diverse backgrounds, diverse undergrad backgrounds, and I don't know how familiar everyone is with journal articles in general, but an orientation to reading journal articles is going to help you a lot in your master's degree and into the future as well. The reason it's going to help is because journal articles are like this weird language that you have to like decipher and interpret. And if you don't know what you're looking for or don't know how to read them, they can seem really mysterious and daunting. And yet, with just a little bit of education on what's going on there, it can help you to easily understand them. Okay. So we're going to start first on where do you find a journal article? Okay. So most of you are going to receive journal articles, like some I've posted on our page. Other professors will include links in syllabi or maybe post them on the page, whatnot like that. Sometimes a professor will ask you to go and find research on something, okay? So how do you find research? Let me go ahead and make sure that share my screen here and we're gonna get rocking and rolling, okay? All right, so got my Chrome here. I'm honestly not sure what Western's library resources are. So forgive my ignorance there, but through Oregon State, I have access to psych articles, okay? So if my internet actually decides to move here, well, there's APA PsycNet, okay? This is essentially an article search engine, all right? So I can type in counseling or any other series of terms, and it'll do a search here and it'll pull a whole bunch of different things in general. So I got, well, like 160,000 hits, quite a bit. And it'll tell me what type of article they are. And if you see they're going from chronological order, if you look here, these definitely aren't like time travelers. What's happening here is these articles are pre-registered to go in that journal. So these are just, they haven't been published yet, but they will be at some point, okay? If you don't have access to an engine like this through Western Seminary, here's the next thing we're gonna do, all right? Just gonna go to Google, we're gonna hit Scholar. Here's Google Scholar. I hit up counseling. Bam. We got a whole bunch of results here. It's not gonna tell me like the other one, but got a bunch of different results here. Here's what we're looking for, okay? So all of these, they'll tell you if they're books, what's not going on like this. We're looking for stuff that has PDF at the site, okay? Because that's gonna tell us there's a PDF version of the article there, okay? This is actually kind of a foundational article here. I'm gonna hit PDF. And my internet is moving so fast, you can see that professors get paid the big bucks, so we get to have the fast internet. Oh, dang, there's my article. Sweet, rock and roll. So this is a PDF copy of the article. I can actually download it if I want. Come over here and hit this and then save it to my laptop and I would have it, okay? So this doesn't happen with every article. A lot of articles are locked behind a paywall. So you'll go to the publisher's website, and we'll be sitting at something like this right here, and you'll go to hit. Oh, I want to see the full article. This is a different article that I pulled up. So I hit full article. Let's see if it actually. It's gonna give me full article. No, it's gonna say, "Hey, pay some money for this article," right? Um, and because we're all a bunch of broke college students, we're not going to want to pay for 24 hours to view and download for 45 bucks. That's a little ridiculous, right? So let's talk first about how the publishing process works. So researchers do research. We write it up, we get it in these fancy little formats, and then we send it to a journal. And we say, hey, we'd like to publish in your journal. And the journal says yay or nay, or most of the times they say, hey, make some corrections and we'll publish you. And so once they say, hey, you're published, guess what? The researcher gets $0 for publishing. Okay. They don't make all this $44. They see none of that. Okay. That goes all towards the publisher. I apologize. I got bad allergies going on at the moment, so my eyes are all funky red, and I'm trying not to drip mucus all over the place. My great apologies. Tissue here. So we researchers don't make any money off of this, but they own the rights to their articles. So let's say you're trying to access an article and you come up to something like this and you're like, hey, get access. And they're like, no, pay money for it. Well, here's a handy dandy little thing. See this little sucker right over here? It'll tell me the researcher's email address. Okay. Because you have access to an EDU website through Western, I would recommend emailing the researcher. And here's what you say. Hey, I would really like to get access to this research study that you did, but I honestly don't want to pay the publisher for it. Would you email me a copy? And if you're polite and respectful, most researchers will send you a copy of their research because they're not benefiting from you paying the publisher. So you can just send them an email and they'll literally email you a copy of their research. It's pretty cool. And here's the thing though, if you email them from somewhere like a Gmail, most of those emails are going to get filtered out, or else they're not going to pay attention to it. So let's go back to our Scholar webpage. Oh, I'm opening up too many tabs here because my internet's going amazing. Oh, that was not right, huh? We got something weird. Scholar, we got the Sun City Homeowners Association. That's what I was looking for. So let's go counseling. And down at the bottom here, one of the cool things that the Google Scholar has too is you'll see some authors are underlined. Arredondo is actually a pretty famous researcher in the counseling field around multicultural issues. So what you'll see is they actually have stats on each researcher. And so Arredondo has published a ton. And here's what's important when we come to publishing, the citation number, okay? How many times they've been cited or the specific article's been citing is the big deal. That lets you know how much of an impact that article's had in the research in general. So when other researchers cite you or cite your research, it goes in here, but it lets essentially the researching world know in the like greater world how impactful that that research was. So multicultural counseling competencies are a big deal. It's actually one of the foundational research pieces in the counseling field. So we look through. Arredondo's done a ton of research. And I mean a ton of research, right? Like, she knows what she's doing. So this is a helpful thing. You can see, you can look up the researcher. They'll have a picture of them usually, sometimes not. Depends on how prolific a researcher they are. It'll let you know their lifetime citations and then how many citations they've had. You can also track their career. So if you see Ardondo's citations is kind of starting to drop off, she's doing a lot less researching than she did in the 90s and early 2000s. Okay. So that's another helpful thing about Google Scholar, all right? So let's say you're looking for an article, you try going to APA SciNet through Western if we have access to that, and we don't, so you can't find it. Try going to Google Scholar and you try finding it there and it's locked behind a paywall and you send an email out, but you're like, well, I don't know if they're going to respond to this. Here's the last thing that we can do. I'm at the handy dandy Santa Clara County website, or Santa Clara County Library website, okay? I'm gonna come to online library. All right, come down to primary sources and archives. Actually, anything over on the subject field will do, okay? And my rockin' fast internet pops up here. Okay, so on the side here, over on this bar, I'll have a bunch of different kind of like categories, okay? In the center, I have essentially archives of journal articles. So these are different archives that the library has access to that you can get access to as well. By clicking something over here, all you're gonna do is shift the specific archive that you want to the top, and then the rest of them underneath are going to be in alphabetical order. So I hit primary sources and archives, and it gave me Academic Search Complete, Ancestry Library. So as we see here, it's in alphabetical order, okay? But let's say I hit something else like, oh, let's say I was like, oh, I want to do some philosophy and religion. At the top, it'll start with the category that's most likely to have philosophy and religion, which is this article search, and then explore public libraries is going to be next. Okay, so I'm going to go to primary source and archives, or actually, let's try research articles and more. How about that? That looks better. So first, sociology collection, not what I want. Academic Search Complete, that sounds great to me. So you're going to need a library card and you're going to need a pen. But once you get in there, then you can search for the journal article that you would like to have. Here's just a handy dandy recommendation. When you find a journal article and it's an article that you like and that stands out in the research, save it, okay? When you find access to it, save these things. So I essentially have a bunch of articles saved on my computer, and then I don't have to go look for them anymore or try to figure out how to find them without going through paying for them, okay? So that's the intro basics on how to find research that you're looking for, all right? And once you've found it, make sure to download it, put it in a file folder that you'll remember, name it, usually the name of the article, and save it, okay? That concludes this first lecture here. The next lecture we're gonna go into is type of journal articles and how to go ahead and read them, okay? All right.